This, for those who don't know, is the Spirit of Ecstasy. It's the figurehead that sits on the nose of every Rolls-Royce motor car. She was designed in 1911 by Charles Sykes, who was tasked with creating Rolls a mascot. It's a symbol of luxury, speed and effortlessness. It's a hallmark of a brand that shows not only that its owner has got a fair bit in the bank, but also that they've made it. It's a figurehead for over a century's worth of cars, and today it's sat on the hood of a Rolls-Royce Wraith, the fastest car the company has ever made. Rolls-Royce doesn't usually bang on about the fastest car you've ever made or anything like that, but when the Wraith was launched in 2013, it made a big song and dance about its performance. Its 6.6 litre twin-turbo V12 produces 624 brake horsepower and 590 pound-foot. That's enough to get its near 2.5 tonne heft from 0 to 60 in just 4.4 seconds and onto a limited top speed of 155 miles an hour. So it's quick, yeah, but it's a Rolls, so it's got to be a bit more than that. Rolls even went so far as to say, though, that it's the kind of car Charles Rolls himself would drive. And that's a bold claim because Charles Rolls was a bit of a badass. You see, Charles Rolls was one of the original adrenaline junkies, admittedly one with a Cambridge education and an impeccable upbringing, but you get what I mean. The motorcar fascinated him so much that he travelled to France while he was studying to pick up a Peugeot Phaeton, and allegedly became the first person in Cambridge to own a car. After his studies, he set up a car dealership to sell motor vehicles to similarly well-heeled individuals, but it was when he met Henry Royce that his life changed in a big way. Royce had a 2-cylinder 10-horsepower car to sell, and Rolls had a business plan. The two joined forces, Royce sorting the engineering, Rolls the rest, and formed Rolls-Royce. As well as selling cars, Rolls drove them pretty hard. He held a land speed record for hitting 93 miles an hour in 1903. As well as cars, he was into aviation. He was a keen balloonist and pilot. He became the first person to do a double channel crossing in 1910. Sadly, he was also the first Briton to be killed in a powered flight, also in 1910. At 32, he'd achieved much, including a legacy that would carry his name onwards for many years to come. Fast forward to today, and the Wraith really is the perfect car for someone like Charles. It's fast, it's comfortable, and it's technologically brilliant. In here, well, the stereo system is amazing, the infotainment system is intuitive and easy to use, and it even lets you write in your own letters for your postcodes and what have you, though it is remarkably similar to the one you find in a lot of BMWs. Interesting, that. You can also have stars in the headlining. It's perfect for a night in the car. Bit odd, but still, it's a nice touch. And then there's the gearbox. Well, there's no paddles in here, you can't change your own gears. The box itself is linked to the GPS, so the car reads the tarmac ahead and then it decides which gear is appropriate for the bit of road you're about to drive on. As is becoming increasingly common, modern cars know far more than you do, or ever will. Fact fans will probably already know that the Wraith shares a platform with the Ghost, which shares its platform with the BMW 7 Series, and that iDrive style information doodad to boot. However, it's got a shorter wheelbase and a lower roof to give it allegedly a sporting edge. In case you hadn't noticed, we're not on a racetrack, nor are we out in the sweeping vistas of Wales or France. We're in London at night, which is where the Wraith will probably do a lot of its driving. Okay, maybe not London, but these really are going to be driven in the city. Hong Kong has the highest proportion of Rolls-Royces to people, and that's hardly known for its luscious countryside. Yeah, the engine's got loads of power, but you don't necessarily have to use it. Your power reserve gauge needn't tick below 80% if you don't want it to. I know mine barely has. So the question really is this a bit of a power beast around town, or is it, well, comfort's dream? In fairness, that is a really stupid question. It's a Rolls-Royce. Of course it's comfortable. It is, I think, the single most comfortable car I have ever sat in. You just waft over every bump, every lump. You don't feel harshness. It never judders or vibrates. You just, well, it's like driving a cloud. And turn that with its steering, which is so incredibly light. This car is geared exclusively for someone who doesn't want to put that much effort in. They just want to get somewhere in comfort. And then the engine, good God. all of that torque, when you put your foot down, just appears and pushes you forward in a manner that really isn't befitting of something that weighs 2.5 tons. But you do notice the weight when you put your foot on the brake, because they're not quite as good as the power propelling the car forward, so you do have to lean on it really quite heavily to get it to a stop. But once you get used to it, after a while you start driving in the Wraith way, and it's all fine, it's all good, it's just a bit heavy. Cornering, well, the car does wallow a little bit, but that's the way it's set up. It's not supposed to corner flat and easy. It's supposed to corner comfortably and elegantly in a way that will get you around the bend and not ruffle your hair. I'd be silly and not doing my job properly if I didn't talk about the size of this. It is absolutely massive. It's a short walk to actually see the whole thing, do a 360 of it. It's enormous, and you can't really see the end of the bonnet, so you have to use the Spirit of Ecstasy as a sort of yardstick to make sure you're not going to put it into anything or not going to hit a wall. Thankfully, the parking sensors and all that, they do their job incredibly well, and there is a rear camera. Talking of visibility though, out the front it's great, the wing mirrors are massive, but out of the rear it has a very large rear screen, but the way it's raked means that you don't see that much through it. Also, the parcel shelf reflects quite a bit, which means I've always got a little bit of a view of whatever's on there. Being in here though, it's just stunning. The craftsmanship that's gone into making this what it is next level stuff. It truly is. The wood feels amazing, the leather beautifully tailored to make sure that everything feels smooth and everything feels just right. The carpet you put your grubby shoes in is like that thick. And that's carpet in a car. Everything about this, everything here is geared for luxury, is geared for making you feel good. And it's perfect for the city, just to go about your business quietly, happily and easily. Now, to say this is quiet is maybe doing it a disservice. In this car right now, the loudest thing other than me is a very slight waft of the air conditioning. The outside world, there could be anything going on. Hell, there could be a full-scale nuclear war going on right outside the window, and I wouldn't hear it. There is no noise, none at all. Usually at this point in a film I say, oh, listen to the engine, listen to how amazing this is, and then we cut to engine noise and revving and what have you. But in this, why don't you just listen to the silence? Listen to the sound of a Rolls-Royce. I'm in my own little bubble of absolute, pure, unfettered luxury. And that's what a Rolls-Royce is. There's something about a Rolls, not only the fact that people know you've made it when you've got a roller on the drive, but something more. It's a bit of everything mixed in together. It's the attention to detail that goes into each one. These cars are hand-built in the UK by trained craftsmen and women, not simply stamped out by a machine. Henry Royce, unsurprisingly, was a perfectionist, and he once commented, "Small things make perfection, but perfection is no small thing. Whatever is rightly done, however, humble is noble." Summing up a car like the Wraith is pretty tricky, because even though it's massively powerful, it's no sports car, and it's only got 2 doors, so it certainly isn't a limo. Its interior though is exquisite, second to none, and even though this is subjective, I do think it's something of a looker. The Wraith is as close as Rolls-Royce will come to making a sports car, but in doing so it won't compromise its core beliefs. I think it's safe to say though that it is the type of car that Charles Rolls would drive.